Yankees lose another series. This one to the Boston Red Sox. They finished the homestand 2-4 versus the Chicago White Sox and the Boston Red Sox, and the offense is just nowhere to be found. Without Aaron Judge, this offense is really nothing. And a lot of what I said last episode rings true again, where the big names, whoever you want to call them, but the bigger names on this team are doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is not an issue of the complementary pieces. Those guys are actually holding their own. It is the bigger names that are really, really struggling big time. When you need them to step up, they're doing the opposite. And and there's different cases for different people. We'll just, over the course of this episode, we'll dissect each one. But the pitching's done a nice job, and this was a very low-scoring series. And it's not as if the Yankees are getting killed. That's the frustrating thing. These are close games. Like the 4 Yankee losses in this homestand were 1-run losses in games where the Yankees lost really at the very last moment, almost in all cases. I guess the only one where it wasn't really crazy was that first one to the White Sox where Donaldson hit the leadoff homer in the 9th, and then nothing happened from there. The other 3, it was tight till the very, very end, where you had, a tying runner at the least in runners in scoring position. So, very frustrating. And look, give credit to Domingo Germán and Clarke Schmidt. They have really held their own, pitched very, very well lately in this series, like when you need it, when you really need it. Like, I think that needs to be said. And the bullpen as a whole has done a very nice job. Michael King had his struggles really predominantly more than I'd say anyone in terms of significance. Again, I'm kind of grouping the two together. This homestand, he had his struggles, but of course he's had a great season. But the bullpen's been good, but the offense has been horrific, absolutely horrific. Anthony Rizzo's been terrible, flat out horrible. He's 0 for his last 24, which is his worst drought of his career, and I think 1 for probably his last 32, maybe even worse than that. Probably no more than 35. I think it probably closer to 32, but it is bad, really, really bad. And maybe he's physically okay after that neck issue thing in that collision with Tatis, but he has been bad now, really, really awful. And he had a terrible, terrible base running, brain cramp. And we see that every now and then from Rizzo. We see that where he just makes mistakes on the bases. But if you want to talk about mental lapses, the king of the mental fucking lapse is Gleyber Torres. And here's the thing. Gleyber Torres is one of your better hitters. Gleyber Torres, no doubt about it, on this team is no worse than a top 3 or 4 hitter on the club, right? No worse than 4th. Judge, and I'm talking about when everyone is kind of at normal health and, right? Like, you're talking about Judge, you're talking about Rizzo. I know he's struggling right now, and I'm saying no worse than. So you can make the argument that Gleyber theoretically is better. I would take Rizzo over him, but that's just me. And of course, Giancarlo Stanton, streaky as he might be, injury-prone as he might be, of course, Stanton is a major source of power. But Gleyber Torres, to that point, good hitter. I'm not taking anything away from there. That's not what we're talking about here. It is the fact that every single series, there is a bonehead play. And it happened here. And it probably cost them. Now, the way things turned out, we don't know for sure. And we'll talk about that. We'll get to that. There'll be a lot of like I said, dissection. But Gleyber Torres with another just brain cramp. And that's being nice. Brain cramp is being completely, is taking it almost a lot more lightly than it is. It's a major problem. It's sometimes it's an IQ thing, sometimes. But it's more so just he's so nonchalant, and it's just the way he plays. It's extremely, extremely frustrating, and you can't really tolerate it. Again, Gleyber Torres is not a winning ball player in the sense that just mentally he's off. He's just off. And then he gets down on himself, but it never really changes. When is it gonna? When is it ever going to change for Gleyber Torres? It's getting worse in terms of these it's brain dead baseball. It's brain dead baseball. So he's very frustrating, right? But it goes on and on. DJ LeMahieu, that's a different case. DJ LeMahieu, whereas like Rizzo's in a funk, LeMahieu, look, there's questions as to what are you going to get from DJ LeMahieu moving forward on this contract, right? We're in year 3 now on a 6-year deal. It's bad. It's really, really bad for DJ. Am I confident that he can be a guy that can get you singles and do things like that? Yeah, for sure. That's why the LeMahieu batting average right now, the fact he's hitting under 240 is just not acceptable. He's a guy that should be, for sure, in the 260s at worst. But, like, the player that we saw in 2019 and 2020 is gone. I think I can safely say that. The one caveat being that last year, before he got hurt, he actually really was doing very well. But now it's pretty ugly for DJ. So, and for Donaldson, the home runs are there, and I think the at-bat quality is better. But Donaldson, look, the fact of the matter is he's batting, and again, low sample size, but he's batting about 150. So, again, like, I'm not as down on him as the others, but there's reason for concern there. And then Giancarlo Stanton has basically done nothing, as we suspected might happen. It's going to take him a while to get going. This is what it is. A, he's streaky, and B, after he comes back from injury, it takes him a while to get going. It is bad. This offense is in major trouble. And again, what hurts is that the pitching is really doing a nice job. They are keeping the Yanks in this. And you're getting great contribution. Billy McKinney has been great. I would even say of the 3. Now, we've seen McKinney the least. McKinney's been awesome. Now, is it going to last? No. It won't realistically last. But he's playing center field. He's playing pretty well defensively. Some blame, I guess, goes to him in that Gleyber fuck up, but really not, honestly. But McKinney, like, I like what I see from him. Bauers, like, out of the 3 of them, his style of play is a bit frustrating, but, like, take it for what it is, right? Jake Bauers, for what it is, has been more than serviceable, right? And Willie Calhoun, same thing. Calhoun has hit some big homers, and he's just a solid hitter. That's what he is. Calhoun, good bat-to-ball skills, and so those guys, I think they're filling in nicely. But another player, and this will be the last one that I'll discuss now. Obviously, we're getting into some more stuff. But Anthony Volpe, you got to send him down. You got to send him down. That's my stance. Have I given up on him? Absolutely not. Not giving up on him. It's what he needs. It's what he needs for his development. Let him go down. Let him, take the pressure off, take a step back, and start doing what he does well. Because right now, he's a liability. He really, really is. And so I would call up Oswald Peraza. I think that Peraza has quieted down a bit lately, but I think it's deserved. Look, let's see what Peraza can do. You want to see anyway. And he hasn't really gotten that much of a run in the majors. At the end of last season in spurts. And then this year, kind of also in spurts, because Volpe was playing short. So I think Peraza, I think that's what you should do. And unfortunately, I'm not confident that it's going to happen necessarily soon, but I'll say this, I think it will happen eventually. I don't have faith that Volpe will turn it around on his own right now. I think a trip to Scranton is what is needed. I really do. I don't see it really exponentially getting better. I think the path to that is going down there, whether it be a month, whether it be longer than that. I think that's the recipe. I'm actually pretty confident if he goes down there. I believe in this kid. I really do. But it's just not working. He doesn't look good. I don't think there's like signs of improvement from what I can see. I think there's reasons to believe that he can be something special, really. And I'll use the word special. I think that he can be very good. You see the flashes, but I don't think that he's ready. And he had an amazing spring training, and he deserved to make the club. But they've given him a lot of chances now, right? We're at June, it's June 11th. It's time. It's time to send him down. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the series. And there's a lot to discuss. So no Gleyber in game 1. And I'm trying to think if there was any roster moves at all here. I don't think anything that's coming to mind that came out of the White Sox series. Nothing that's coming to mind. If I think of it, I'll say it. But no Gleyber in the first game, and no Willie Calhoun. And it was frustrating that Willie Calhoun never found a pinch hit appearance. I felt like there were chances to do it, and it never happened. But yeah, so no Gleyber and no Calhoun. Gleyber would pinch hit. and actually did a nice job. And look, Gleyber as a hitter has been really solid. He has not been a problem at the plate. I actually like his at-bat quality, and it's actually been a lot improved, I think, from recent seasons. So, yeah. So that's what you're looking at there. And so DJ's leading off, and DJ had a couple hits. Looking for him, that's pretty good lately. It was only a couple of singles, but DJ did lead off. It wouldn't stay that way. And I agree with that. I don't think DJ, I think Gleyber and even Calhoun, they deserve to be up there more than LeMahieu. But it was Garrett Whitlock. And the pitches for the Red Sox, Whitlock, Houck, and Bayo all pitched well, and I'm not that surprised they did. Because of the state of the Yankees, because of in terms of in the case, I guess, of Whitlock, and more so even Houck, in terms of like they haven't done well against them, and I think Bayo even has pitched pretty well against the Yanks. I guess that would have been last season. Again, short sample size, but I can't say I'm surprised that the Yankees were kind of shut down. I gotta say, and those pitchers, like, they have good stuff. They haven't really been able to quite harness it in different cases, but anyway. This was scoreless for a while. Cole was doing well. The issue I have with Cole, this one, only 6 innings. That's the problem. 6 innings, 2 runs in itself is fine. But for Cole, you would have liked 7. Coming off of a doubleheader the day before, the bullpen was a bit gassed. And, so that's the issue. So for Cole, a solid outing, but Rafi Devers gets to him again. Let's just jump straight to the 4th. And it's a ground rule double by Devers. And again, the outfield defense is a problem. I'm hoping Harrison Bader makes his return soon. There's a chance he returns to this 2-game Mets series. My hunch is no, but they didn't rule it out. My hunch is no, but I think that Bader, maybe he'll be back for the Red Sox series next weekend. He seems like he'll be coming back soon. And sometimes there's setbacks, but I think if they play this right, he'll be back. And that'll be big from a defensive standpoint, because this ground rule double, who was it? Was it Bowers? Let me just double check that. I believe it was Bowers, yeah, it was. And I've been tough on him, and honestly, he's made some nice defensive plays lately. It hasn't been all bad, but Bowers, I thought, I think with Bader, and again, I think Kiner-Falefa was in center in this game. I think if Bader and or Judge are out there, maybe this is caught. Anyway, it's a 2-out RBI single by Tristan Casas, so that stings, and that makes it 1-0 Red Sox. We go to the top of the 6th, and Rafi Devers, opposite field homer. Not even a bad pitch by Cole, but Devers has Cole's number. Devers really has the Yankees' number, but specifically Cole. He hits homers off Cole. I think that might be, 7 now in his career off of Garrett Cole. So that's his 14th homer of the season, and it gives the Red Sox a 2-0 lead right there. In the 6th, Josh Donaldson. With an absolute bomb, dead center field, almost 450 feet, his 5th homer of the season. So again, the power from Donaldson is good to see. I want to see some more. I want to see some multi-hit games every now and then, but, at least he's doing that, and that makes it 2-1. But unfortunately, we go to the 7th. Albert Abreu comes on. Abreu, to be fair, has been good lately. He has been. But Kike Hernandez, and when I look back on it, Kike Hernandez was... Devers is Devers. Devers, of course, is what he is, but Kike Hernandez might have been the player of the series, honestly. And I look at a guy like that, that's a winning player. I always come away very impressed by Kike Hernandez, whether it be with the Dodgers and more so with the Red Sox, seeing it more. He's been good versus the Yankees, and he just comes up pretty big for them. The stats aren't great. It just seems like he gets it done. And so Kike gives the Sox a 3-1 lead, which was key because the Yankees would come back for a run in the 7th. Kiner-Falefa singles, an infield single. Then Gleyber pinch hits for Trevino. While he's up, Kiner-Falefa steals second and then goes to third on a throwing error by Connor Wong. And then Gleyber walks, and on that walk, it's a wild pitch by Garrett Whitlock, and Kiner-Falefa scores. So it's kind of an IKF run. And so that makes it 3-2. Whitlock's out of the game, and then Nick Pivetta comes in. Nick Pivetta actually did well this series, which is frustrating. The Yankees have had some success against him in the past. His numbers aren't really that good, so felt like missed opportunities against Pivetta. He finishes off that inning. In the 8th, I guess I should have said in the 7th. Let's see. How did this play out exactly? Abreu gives it the homer. Nick Ramirez finishes out the 7th. And then in the 8th, he actually pitched the 8th as well. Nick Ramirez, has looked really good. looked very, very good this series, and lately, like, he's been very solid. So Nick Ramirez, as a second lefty besides Wandy, he might find his way into some spots. Not regularly, but I think Nick Ramirez is kind of here to stay for now. Like, he kind of deserves it. And I wasn't really sure of that at one point. And could it regress? Yeah, but he's been solid. So Nick Ramirez comes on, gets the job done for the most part. Then Jimmy Cordero gets a double play to end the inning. We jump to the bottom of the eighth. Chris Martin, who's a very brief former Yankee. He's bounced around a bit. Pitches a 1-2-3 eighth inning. And Chris Martin, to me, I think he's the best guy in the Red Sox pen. In thinking about it. But in the ninth, was it Jimmy Cordero as well? I think it might have been. Yeah, Jimmy Cordero. Look, Cordero's been solid. I don't always trust him in big spots, but Cordero, another guy, good depth piece in this pen. Bottom of the ninth, it's Kenley Jansen. It's frustrating. Jansen is, at this stage of his career, risky. There's a lot of walks. There's just, it's not easy. But he gets 2 quick outs, but then the Yankees get it going. Billy McKinney, who singles. And again, I can't say enough. I thought McKinney was excellent this series in many, many regards. McKinney singles, then Oswaldo Cabrera pinch runs for him. I would have considered having Cabrera steal when Gleyber was up. Jansen slow to the plate. I would have really thought about having Cabrera run. They don't, and then Gleyber does single. And so Cabrera goes to second. Who knows? If things work out differently, maybe that's an RBI single. And then Anthony Volpe's up. To his credit, he does hit what was a foul homer. And so it kind of reminded me of the day before where Gleyber had almost hit a walk-off 3-run homer, but it was foul. This one was hit very hard down the left field line. It was clearly foul. And then Volpe pops out. So that was frustrating. Anthony Volpe 2 times in the series gets the last out in a really big spot to keep the game alive. So Jansen is able to escape. And the Red Sox win 3-2. That one was frustrating, in the sense that, look, you had Garrett Cole on the mound. And so that one hurt. But look, the Red Sox had the lead. They kept the lead. And so you look at it, and like at the end of the day, not only for recency bias, but game 3 hurt a lot more than game 1. We go to game 2. Yankees win game 2, and we've seen that a lot from them, right? The Yankees have still not gotten swept this season. They've done a good job of just winning games and kind of piecing it together, but you really wanted to win the series here. It was Domingo Germán versus Tanner Houck, and Germán got into a lot of 2-out trouble, but I really had another nice outing. The ERA drops to 3.49. He had a 6-inning, 1-run performance, and I think, is the whip still under 1? Yeah, 0.99. Again, Domingo Germán, you feel pretty good about him out there. He's had 12 starts. He's 4-3, and again, he's just provided some really nice stability. So in this game, on the bench I'm trying to think of who of the significant players. It was Connor Falefa as well as Rizzo. So they gave Rizzo a night off, which made sense. He'd been struggling lately, and I was hoping that he would come back around in game 3. It did not happen. But Rizzo was out in this one. So this game, the Yankees take the lead. In the 4th, it is a homer opposite field by Gleyber Torres. I think that was actually the first hit of the game by the Yanks, as Houck really had their number. But Gleyber, opposite field homer, his 11th homer of the season. So for Gleyber, he's been hitting home runs, and I like that. Definitely do. And we go to the 6th, and the Red Sox tied up. Rafi Devers. So kind of like last game, one mistake by Germán, where he gave a homer to J.D. Martinez against the Dodgers. Here, Rafi Devers, dead center field, 15th homer of the year. Again, he's a good player, and specifically, it seems like he kills the Yanks. So it makes it 1-1. Bottom of the 6th, though, Willie Calhoun. It's his 5th homer of the year. This was a Yankee Stadium homer, for sure. But Calhoun homers and gives the Yankees a 2-1 lead, and they would keep that. So, again, Willie Calhoun has had some timely homers this year. Wandy Peralta pitched in the 7th. He threw a lot of pitches, I think about 28. But Wandy gets through it. There was a couple of 2-out walks to Yoshida. Really long at-bat by Yoshida, right? I think that was this one. Yeah, a 14-pitch at-bat. I'm impressed by Yoshida. I think he's going to be a good player. And then Turner walks, and Justin Turner, again, I thought he had a very solid series, too. Justin Turner. Look, this Red Sox team, it's not bad. It's not what it was, and I think that the pitching ultimately is problematic. But I think this offense, it can score runs. While not being one of the best in the league, it's far from the worst. But Peralta gets Devers, and the one thing I'll say is with Wandy, he's been so good against lefties, but Rafael Devers, I think, is 0 for 10 lifetime versus Wandy. And that's nice to have that as a weapon versus Devers. So it stays 2-1, and then in the 7th, the Yankees take the lead. The Yankees extend the lead. Connor Falefa, who's in for his first at-bat, he came in for defensive purposes. He didn't come in for defensive purposes. He's pinch hitting here. Connor Falefa pinch hitting for Bauer's singles. Then eventually he's on second with 2 out. The Red Sox bring in a righty because a lefty had been in, and Kyle Higashioka gets an RBI single. And Higgy has been, out of the 2 catchers, Higgy has been the better hitter. No doubt about that. Between him and Trevino, it's not significantly better, but I would say lately, like, absolutely. Higgy has been, and to me, it's got to be a close to 50-50 split. Whereas last year, Trevino, for a large part of the season, was the definite starter. To me, it's a 1A, 1B situation, and that's how it's got to be. Will it last? We'll see. But Higgy, with an RBI single, makes it 3-1. In the 8th, Tommy Kahnle comes on. This was probably Tommy Kahnle's biggest spot since he's been back to come in. 2-run game, 8th inning. First pitch was a hit by pitch to Adam Duvall, but then he bounces back with 3 straight outs. So Tommy Kahnle, I think the more he pitches, the higher leverage spots he'll be in. I just think that's the natural progression, and that'll be good for the Yankees. So it's 3-1 there. Let's jump to the 9th. Clay Holmes comes on, and like Clay Holmes has been good. Clay Holmes, who he scares me, but when the control is there, he is good. And Clay Holmes has been just about as good as anyone in that pen lately. Right? Like, Clay Holmes over the last month arguably has been the best, right? I mean, not to say, again, do I feel confident that will last? Maybe not, but I got to be fair. Clay has been really good, and it hasn't even been that nerve-wracking at times. So here, there was a 1-out single to Verdugo, but before it had a chance to get to Devers, and that would have been scary, he does end the game. Justin Turner grinds out to end it. So the Yankees win 3-1. Another low-scoring game. And the Yankees win this one. So we jump to game 3, the rubber match. And in the rubber games, the Yankees, like I had said, for the most part this season in the rubber games, the record's very good. But they lost tonight. And they had a lead after 7, and they could not hang on to it. It's the offense's fault and some miscues, notably Gleyber. Let's jump right into it. So Clark Schmidt versus Brian Bayo. And the Red Sox take the lead. And this was one where it worked out for the Red Sox. A Yankee Stadium homer for Justin Turner. Opposite field. It's his 8th homer of the year. Gives the Red Sox a 1-0 lead. But the Yankees bounce right back in the second. Leadoff walk for Donaldson. And again, for Donaldson, I believe that the at-bat quality has been a lot better this season than it was last season. So Donaldson walk. Then with 2 out, Billy McKinney ground rule double. Then a very lucky break for the Yankees. Trevino hits it hard up the middle. But it was going to be an out, but it goes off second base and into the outfield, so it's a 2-run single. A nice break for the Yankees, a nice break for Trevino, and so it's 2-1. Then Clark Schmidt really locks it in. Does a great job. Of note, I'm just going to say, I'm jumping to the 6th inning. Willie Calhoun's taken out for defensive purposes in the top of the 6th in a 2-1 game. Look, I get it. He's not a good fielder, but man, that is fucking early. And so you lost an important Calhoun at bat later on when the game had been tied, but that's what they chose to do. Connor Falefa comes in, and they rearrange the outfield. And with 1 out in the 6th, they take Schmidt out, and Nick Ramirez did such a nice job. He got Verdugo, he got Yoshida, and then in the 7th, he also got Devers. In the bottom of the 6th, though, an absolutely terrible play by Rizzo on the bases. Just unacceptable, quite frankly. He actually gets on base, which he hasn't done lately. He gets a leadoff walk, and with 2 out, he's on second. LeMahieu's up on a 2-0 count, and Rizzo gets picked off second. Just fell asleep a bit. I know he's trying to get a bigger league so he can score on a potential LeMahieu single, but you just can't have that. So Michael King comes on in the 7th. It wasn't pretty, but he gets out of it. Turner walk. Casas hits the ball hard, but it's a double play. So keep that in the back of your mind. We go to the 8th. Leadoff single Kike Hernandez. But to make matters worse, McKinney throws it in, and maybe the throw was a little offline, but Gleyber lets it get behind him, and Hernandez scoots over to second. Gleyber Torres just is not mentally all there on the baseball field. He's not either. It's a matter of not being fully locked in, or he's just too nonchalant. I think it's a combination of the two, but again, it's not a winning formula. It isn't. And I don't think it's one of those things that will really change. Like, I just think you have to live with that with Gleyber. And is it worth it? I think that's debatable. So it's a runner on second, and then a bad walk to Reese McGuire. Michael King, you can't walk Reese McGuire. And so then it's a well-executed bunt by Pablo Reyes, makes it second and third, 1 out, and then Jarren Duran is up, and King really needed a strikeout. Infield, the corners were in, second and short was back, and what happens? RBI ground out to second by Duran. Do you wish the infield was in? Yeah, you do, the way that it turned out. But I understand, when it was hit, I was like thinking, okay, good, like infield's in, and then infield's back. So in my mind, I was thinking, I mean, I understand it. You could have gone either way with it. It's risky to go infield in, but with the state of the offense, it's like you kind of almost had to keep the lead, but I'm not going to kill Boone for it at the same time. So it makes it 2-2. King doesn't get the job done. Let's just say that. You know, even though there was fuck-ups around him, he doesn't get it done. Wandy comes in, and Wandy threw a lot of pitches the night before. I wasn't sure if he'd be available. He was, and he does get Verdugo to ground out. So he ends the inning there. Bottom of the 8th, there is a 2-out walk by Gleyber off of Pivetta. Keep in mind, Giancarlo Stanton did pinch hit earlier in the inning and grounded out. I was hoping he would do something. He had good career numbers off of Pivetta. And then Rizzo flies out. Again, Anthony Rizzo, it's been a disaster lately for him. Absolute disaster. So in the 9th, Clay Holmes comes on, and there was a one-out infield single to Devers, but he gets a double play on Turner. So again, Clay Holmes, nice job. Bottom of the 9th, Kenley Jansen goes 1-2-3, and then in the 10th, it's Ron Marinaccio. Marinaccio was good the last time, but Ron Marinaccio, it's been on and off for him this year. And so for me, pecking order-wise, I think Kenley will be ahead of him. Kenley's more of a one-inning guy, where Ron, I think, is considered kind of multi-inning at times, so it's different. But both of them are righties that are good against lefties. That's their trademark. But I think ultimately, when things are normal, Kenley will be ahead of Marinaccio. Just a thought. Again, I like Ron, but he's been a bit inconsistent. So here's what happens. Tristan Casas with a productive out. He gets the runner over to third, and then Kike Hernandez. I would have really wanted to pitch carefully. I know it's the top half of the inning, and I know that you want to limit it to just one run if you can. But considering that you had Wong up, and then Reyes, who, we'll talk about the Reyes at bat. He did get into it. But I think that I'm not saying I would have walked him, but easy base hit by Kike Hernandez. He gets the job done. He is again, I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's, really a fundamentally sound player. And so now Connor Wong grounds out. It's a force out. And now with 2 out, Pablo Reyes crushes one to left, but Billy McKinney makes an amazing catch. Just an amazing catch, which you hoped, all right, like that's what you need. You're still down 1 with a runner on second and no out. Let's jump to the bottom of the 10th. Chris Martin comes on. And Billy McKinney gets the job done, kind of like what Casas did. It's a fly out to right, and LeMahieu moves to third. But then Jose Trevino, who again, I know he had the 2-run single. He was lucky. And Trevino, I don't mind the aggressiveness to start the at-bat with the sac fly situation, but he just stayed way too aggressive. He was swinging at pitches that might have even hit him. And ultimately, he strikes out. It's a terrible job by Trevino. He has been bad offensively. Let's be honest. Jose Trevino has been horrific offensively this season. You live with it because he's got good defense. Typically, there's good contact skills. We didn't see it there, but he fucks up there. And then Anthony Volpe, just a terrible at-bat. He strikes out. And so Volpe ends it again, just as he did in the first game, and that's it. Yankees lose a really tough one, 3-2. And it just magnifies the offensive ineptitude of this team. Let's talk about the 2 Met games, which are going to be before they play the Red Sox again. So they will go to Fenway in what will probably look like a fairly similar series. There will be more offense because you can't get much less than this, and it's at Fenway. So there's always going to be some weird stuff that happens, and so I'd expect some more runs to be scored. But let's talk about these pitching matchups. On paper, some pretty interesting ones. Severino versus Scherzer, and Severino's had a couple of really bad starts. Like, eyes are on Sevy. He's got to turn it around. And so we'll see against a struggling Met offense with no Pete Alonso. So no excuses for Sevy. And so for Scherzer, he's been pretty good lately. For him, it seems like he tires out a little bit. So you might, so third time through, something to look at. But, Sevy versus Scherzer, and then really even more of a doozy is Cole versus Verlander. The 2 former Astro teammates hooking up against each other. So that one should be pretty interesting as well. Again, Yankees and Mets, 2 teams kind of, stumbling. Mets more so than the Yankees. And the Mets will be a pretty desperate club. They're 31-35, and they need to win some games. Yankees do as well. But, this will be an interesting 2-game set. The way I look at this is I am kind of hoping to take one of 2. I mean, look, you're hoping to win both. But realistically, Mets, they've played some pretty good ball at home. For the most part, they are a better home team than road team. And so I'm just hoping to win one. Get one, get out of there, and go to Boston. That's just what it is. With the state of this Yankee lineup, it's what it has to be. So again, Yankees offense, just completely anemic. And, I know Judge is out, but it's bad. It shouldn't be this bad, but it is. And the Yankees lose the 3-game set to the Red Sox. They go 2-4 on this homestand.